Hi there, everybody. This is Kelly Gettlefinger with Always Stampin' Videos. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel. I really appreciate my viewers and especially my subscribers. I love it when you give my videos a little like and when you comment and say nice things, because that just helps my channel be seen by YouTube, and I appreciate it. My channel is a tiny channel and I make super quick videos so that you can spend more time stamping and less time watching. So I would love to have big fancy openings to my videos, but I don't know how to do all that. And so I try to make my videos just super quick so that you can do some super stamping. So let's get to it. Today I'm going to show you how to make, I'm going to call this my triangle pocket card. So there's a pocket inside that you can use to put fun things like gift cards, tea bags, little pieces of candy, money, photos, all kinds of things. So I'm going to show you how to create this card, and it's so super easy. I'm hoping that I can do this in less than 5 or 6 minutes. So here we go. All right, I am starting off with a piece of cardstock that measures 8.5 by 11. And then I also have 2 pieces of designer series paper from Stampin' Up! That measure 4 inches by 5 1/4 and 3 inches by 5 inches. Super easy measurements. And now for the scoring and trimming of the cardstock. So this is the part that might be a little tricky because a lot of people don't know how to use the 12 by 12 paper trimmer except to trim paper. But when you use it for measurements, it's really, really handy. The first score that we're going to do is at 5 inches. So with the shorter edge to the top of the trimmer, so that means the 8.5 by 11 edge, the 8.5 inch edge is going to go to the top of the trimmer. You're going to bring it in at 5.5 and you're going to score, okay? Then you're going to quarter turn so that the 11-inch edge is at the top of the trimmer, and you're going to come in at 7 5/8. Now that's the part where a lot of people might get confused because we're not used to using 8s, 16ths. So we're going to come up here to the 7 and we're going to count not the tiniest mark, but the next tiniest mark. Okay, so you've got 16th inches, 8th inches, and quarter inches. And so we're going to go by the 8th inch, and so we want 7 5/8. So that's 1/8. Then the quarter inch is 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, and 5/8. So that's the second largest mark after the 1/2 inch at 7.5 inches. I hope that makes sense. So we're going at 7 5/8. And we want to score right there. But we're going to leave our paper in the trimmer, and we're just going to trim from the top of the cardstock down to the previously scored area. But what I like to do is I like to actually pick my trimmer up and start at the scored area. So if you look on the Stampin' Up! Paper trimmer, there is a tiny mark here at the edge on both sides. And so if you can line that up with the scored area, that tells you exactly where to trim. So I'm just going to trim up and then open it up. I'm going to flip it over and do the exact same thing from the other edge. So 7 5/8. I'm going to score it first, and then I'm going to trim from that previously trimmed area up. Okay. Now I'm going to quarter turn it again so that the 8.5 inch edge is to the top of the trimmer again, with the scored areas to my right. This is just my personal preference. You can do it to the left, but I personally like the smaller areas, the smaller panels going to my right. I'm going to put that very first scored mark into my trimmer again so that I can trim away both of the upper corners. So I'm bringing my trimmer into the, let me just show you here in the camera. So I want to start trimming from right here. I hope that makes sense. And I'm going to trim away. So I want to trim this square panel away from my cardstock completely. So it's going to look like that. Now I'm going to keep my cardstock in my trimmer and just come down here to the bottom and do the same thing. So I'm just going to trim that panel away. So it looks like that. And then what I have is a piece of cardstock that looks a little bit like this. This is the top. This smaller panel here is going to be the top of my card. And these bottom 3 panels are going to be the bottom of my card. So I want to trim away the upper corners of each of these outside panels. So I'm going to put it in my trimmer, my cardstock in my trimmer, so that my track, the track of my blade, will just barely be visible here at this corner, and I'm going to trim down to this corner. So let me get that in the camera really quickly. All right, so if you notice, see how I can barely see my track right there? So that's where my blade is going to go. But then this corner down here is also in the track. And so I'm going to trim that corner completely away. All right. Then I'm just going to flip it and do the exact same side, or the exact same trim on the other side. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. All right. And then you have something that looks a little bit like this. Now we're done with the trimmer for just a few seconds. I like to use my bone folder and just fold everything right now. Press it down really nicely. And those scrap pieces are really nice sizes. You can actually just keep those for another project. All right. So this piece is our 4" by 5 1/4, and we're going to use that in just a second, but we're going to bring in the 3 by 5" and we're going to trim that corner to corner. It doesn't really matter which way you do it. It's kind of up to you. If you want to see a particular pattern on your card, then you'll know that you need to trim it the opposite direction. You'll understand that in just a second. Hold on. All right, so now our card is ready to adhere things, but before we make our pocket, we want to decide which one of these cute triangles we want to add to our card and where. So I personally like this layout, but if you wanted to see these little animals instead, what you would want to do, well, you know what? That's what I meant earlier by trimming that the opposite direction. So if you wanted to see a certain animal, I hope that makes sense. I knew that I wanted to see these little guys on this side. And then what you would do if you trimmed it the opposite direction, you would just fold this way, right over left. I'm going left over right. It doesn't really matter. It's just totally up to you. So this side is going to be the little purple snowflakes. And the other side is going to be the little critters. Now I'm just showing you the base for how to create this card, and then you can decorate it all on your own. And sometime on my Stampin' Facebook page, Always Stampin' with Kelly, you can use the @ in your search box for Always Stampin' with Kelly, and you should be able to find that. I will show you how to do the front of the card, but for today I'm just showing the base of this card. So now I'm going to add adhesive to the very bottom parts of my triangles and fold that in. Now, like I said, I want to go left over right, so I'm just folding that in this way, and there we go. And then this piece here is going to get glued right on top of this panel. So I'm personally adding a little bit of adhesive to the cardstock and then to the top of my designer series paper. All right, so then my card is done and ready to decorate. So I'll show you the original again, and then I'll also leave this here. If you decide to visit my website, alwaysstampinwithkelly.stampinup.net, and use September's hostess code, I will be sending you a special little thank you in the mail. So thanks for joining me today, and I hope you appreciated this fun little triangle pocket card. Thanks everybody, have a creative day.